Metro Sports has been covering all kinds of high school activity on the High School Game of the Week. Today, the Missouri 4A Sectionals from Blue Springs High School here at Billy Peavy Field. And hi again, everybody. Neil Harwell with you on the High School Game of the Week. Today, the Missouri 4A Sectionals, and I'm joined by the coach, Tom Coyle. And Tom, the conditions today are very good, and they've done a great job of organizing this event and getting ready for today's meet.
Neil, Coach Gary Parker from Blue Springs High School has done a magnificent job, and his staff has done a great job. It's 80 degrees, a light wind out of the south, and we're ready for track.
We are ready for track. And Tom, you've taken teams to this point many times in your career at Center and Ruskin and other clubs. What's on the line today? What's it all mean for these athletes today?
Neil, these athletes today, their ultimate goal is to get to the state meet in Jefferson City next week. Today is a cut line. Top four go, top four stay.
It's all on the line to go to Jeff City. And, you know, we're going to have Chad Harberts patrolling the infield today and getting interviews for us. And also, he's over in the discus pit today. And, Chad, what's going on? Chad?
Thanks, Neil. The boys' discus competition could be one of the most exciting events at this afternoon's sectional. 3 of the top 5 throwers in the metro area have qualified for the sectional, led by Jermaine Smith of Raytown South. All 3 have personal bests further than the current meet record. But don't forget about Chris Hayes from Blue Springs. The local product won the district to qualify for this afternoon.
All right, the Missouri 4A Sectionals here from Blue Springs High School. We'll have the track meet for you. The 110-meter hurdles coming up next. Welcome back to Billy Peavy Field here at Blue Springs High School, the Missouri 4A Sectional High School track and field meet, girls and boys. And right now we are preparing for the girls' 100-meter hurdles. There's your meet record by Edwards in 92. From Ruskin, 14:40. Coach Tom Coyle, a little past your time. You coached over at Ruskin for a while, but 1992 she sets the record. And we'll have the lane assignments for you in this one. Melinda Bolin at Truman High School, an outstanding basketball player as well. Kendra Lawless from Blue Springs South, Shanatra Neely from Hickman Mills. Both those runners own 14-7 times. Kelly Smith is 14-8 in the middle lane. Fowler, Bear, Ioswa, and Hawkins. And right there is Kelly Smith of Grandview. She owns a 14-8 best time this season, 14-9-3 in the district. That was the best time, in fact, the only time that was sub 15, and she is in the middle lane. But immediately next to her in lane 3 is Shanatra Neely from Hickman Mills, who's run a 14-7, and then right next to her is Kendra Lawless, who's also run a 14-7. Should be a good race, Tom.
Neil, Shanatra Neely is first in the metro, by the way, so she's the class of the field. She's in lane 3. Take a look at her.
It's a good start, and it's Smith out pretty early in lane 4, but stand right with her is Lawless in lane 2. The 3 favorites are right there together as they push it to the end. Smith looks like she has a slight lead as she leans in at the tape. I think it was Kelly Smith in lane 4. We'll wait for the official results, but what a race between those 3 that we talked about. Lawless in lane 2, Neely in lane 3, and Kelly Smith in lane 4 from Grandview. And we'll look again at the finish line, Tom, but a very nice race to open up the day.
Kelly is third in the metro, Neil. Here she comes again. She really comes on strong at the end. Notice her body lean. She points that knee at that hurdle. 3 steps in between. Look at that. Good lean as she goes by us. And, of course, we're at a very bad angle here to really tell who actually won it.
And here's the great angle that we need, as we saw that Smith leaned in, but what a finish. And then it's Lawless and Neely, and then finishing in 4th, importantly, is Erin Fowler in lane 5 from Oak Park, because she'll move on to the state meet. And there it is coming right at you. Again, Kelly Smith from Grandview, and I had her unofficially in 14.75, which is a pretty solid time. So we'll have to see what the official time is, and of course that's totally unofficial because we're looking down the way and trying to predict when they have crossed the finish line. And so that's the girls' 100-meter hurdles. Your winner, Kelly Smith. The boys' 110-meter high hurdles, the next event On the docket for the day, there are the lane assignments. Fisher, Lloyd, Davis, Cromley is the class of this field so far this season. He's in lane 4. He's from Blue Springs. Chambers, Brown, Wiley, and Nickerson round out the field. And let's talk about Mr. Cromley just a little bit, Tom, as they line up. He has run a 14.3 as a personal best this season, 14.5 in the district.
Neil, Gary Parker, his coach, who holds the record here at the present time, says that he is the best he's ever coached. He is ranked first in the Metro, but he says also he's nursing a sprained ankle. So we may have we'll see what he's made of with the sprained ankle, because there's no backing out of this one.
And there is the meet record, 14.1 by Andrew Johnson of Hickman Mills in 1995. And we've got the gun out. Cromley in the middle. Roy Brown of Belton has run 14.8 this season. It's a good start. And Cromley's on top so far in the race. Got out of the blocks pretty well and running a nice smooth race. Joe Cromley's just dominating the 110 hurdles as we predicted, and there he is winning the race. Joe Cromley. Coach, I don't know if you had a time on him there.
Sure didn't, Neil. But I'll tell you what, I bet he ran a good one.
We'll have to wait for the official time and try to set the rest of the field for you. Remember, the top 4 places will move on to Jeff City, and Joe Cromley will lead the charge from the Kansas City area.
It looked like Roy Brown from Belton was in there second, but from our vantage point, it was kind of hard to tell.
Well, we'll take a look on the replay. Good start.
As they come down the track here, notice how Cromley, with 3 steps in between those 39-inch hurdles, look how strong he is. And Roy Brown on the inside, on the lane 3, closing in the gold shirt from Belton. And that's David
lane
Davis.
6, yeah.
I apologize. David Davis in lane 3 from St. Joe Central is in there.
So here's Cromley at the finish, Brown and Wiley, and I think also Davis was in there as your qualifiers. Chad Harberts has the winner. Chad, take it away.
Thank you, Neil. I'm here with Joe Cromley from Blue Springs, a 14.85. No ill effects from the sprained ankle today, huh?
No, I felt all right coming out. I was just worried about getting out of the blocks.
You had a great start. You had held off some competition at the end. How did you feel you ran the race?
I hit a hurdle and I was all over the place. It was pretty wild.
Are you ready to go back to Jefferson City?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I can't wait.
All right, Joe Cromley from Blue Springs, the winner of the 100-meter hurdles. Back to you, Neil.
All right, Chad, thanks a lot. Joe Cromley trying to regain his breath after the good race. And we'll take a break here on Metro Sports. Joe Cromley of Blue Springs leading the way in the 110-meter hurdles. Welcome back to Blue Springs High School here on Metro Sports. We're ready for the 100-meter dash. There's the meet record and the time by Milana Gray in 1989 in North Kansas City. And let's set the lane assignments for you. You've got Lawless and Neely back in there again. Natalie Talley from Raytown South. Muna Lee in the center lane from Central. Robinson, Clark, White, and Timbrook set the lane assignments for you. And lane 3 is Natalie Talley from Raytown South. She has run an 11.84 this season. You're looking in the middle of the track, however, at Muna Lee from Central High School. She's run 11.9, so this should be a pretty good race. 2 of the top sprinters in the area.
We have the top 3 Metro runners, according to Kansas City Star last Thursday. Muna Lee is second. Natalie Talley is the first.
And they're off in a good start. Muna Lee in the middle, and also Natalie Talley working it out. It's Talley that's leading, but here comes Lee at the finish. And it might have been Lee that got her at the tape. I don't know. We'll have to revisit it. But the entire way, it was Natalie Talley and Muna Lee doing battle. And a great kick at about the 75-meter mark by Lee to close in. So, Tom, they got out of the blocks pretty well. A good start in the middle of the track, especially by Talley.
Talley was out as quick as you could ever get out. They say this is the race of diminishing returns. You just start out fast and get slower as you go. And it's a matter of who gets there the first.
And it is on the lean, as we've been able to determine from our position here. And let's see the third and fourth place. I believe from Northeast High School, Siobhan Robinson in lane 5 got third, and maybe next to her, Sheba Clark from Park Hill, I think, are the top 4 there. And there's your winner from the Lady Eagles of Central High School, Muna Lee. And I had her unofficially in 12-1. The boys 100-meter dash now. There's the meet record by Bolden in 91 of Ruskin. He ran a 10.3, and in fact, that's the best time in the area this season by Byron Gassaway, who will be in lane 4. He has a 10.3, and there's the field for you. Mosey in lane 1, Liddell Betts, spelled with 2 T's actually, from Blue Springs in lane 2. Larry McGee from Raytown South, and there is Byron Gassaway from Grandview. Ran a 10.58 in the district, Tom, 10.3 this season. He had the best time in the area. Inyak Poe from Olathe North threw a 10.2 at him the other day, so we have some sprinters in the metro area.
Grandview has always had some great sprinters. Fact matter is, back in the 60s, they had a bunch of boys by the name of Barry. And I talked with Rudy Wishman, his coach, and he says this young man is the real thing.
Well, we're going to watch the real thing right now. Byron Gassaway. And next to him in lane 5 is William Lacey, who's a junior from Park Hill. He's run a 10.7 in the district. So we'll see how it materializes. Good start. In the middle, it's Gassaway, clearly pulling away and leading at the 50-meter mark, and it's Gassaway who is gone. Byron Gassaway just threw the gas on it and got on out of here. Easy victory.
He sure is a strong-looking runner, straight as a string. Good arm push, great start. He got right out with it. Did you catch who got second in there?
We'll have to. We always have the best look on Metro Sports. I know John Dennison and his great crew here at Metro Sports give us a good look here, Tom. It's coming right at you. Byron Gassaway to your right, to your left, William Lacey.
All arms when he came out, good and low, stands up, good forward lean. Look at those high knee action. Look how relaxed his hands are. Great talent, good finish. And Park Hill is second in there, right behind him.
So there's Gassaway finishing first. Lacey, the junior, is second. I believe it was Glenn Hunt in third from Central out of lane 7, and I couldn't pick up the all-important 4th place. Reminder, we'll have all the official times and results at the end of our broadcast today, and you'll be able to follow along and see who moves on to Jefferson City in the top 4 places. But clearly, Byron Gassaway, the class of the field, here in the 4A sectional boys 100-meter race. And we'll be back with more here on Metro Sports right after this.
Smooth operation.
And now on Metro Sports, we're ready for the girls 4x200-meter relay. And the meet records time is 1:43.06. And I'll tell you what, Tom, Kansas City Central has run a 1:41.38 this season, so they're almost 2 seconds better than the meet record.
They're ranked number 1 in the Metro. Kansas City Central is coached by Richard Samuel, and this girls' team really looks hot. The starter for the girls, by the way, is Terry Keaton.
And there are the rest of the lane assignments as you're talking. Yeah, Terry Keaton is your starter for the day, and there is Central. I wish we could get you the names of all of the runners in this race. Not available to us at this time, but that is Kansas City Central ready to go. And there is the best time in the district, 1:41.38, and as we told you, that is almost 2 seconds better than the meet record. And I just imagine they might have Muna Lee on the anchor in this race.
I would bet they will. Usually these girls will repeat either in this one or back in the 4x400 meters, but I would look for her to anchor this one.
Starter Terry Keaton has the gun out. Tom, we got lanes all the way in this 4x200 race.
The baton exchange is the most critical part of this race. If you'll notice, they have to pass the baton in a 22-yard or 22-meter zone.
And Tom, clearly Central is moving it out in the
rolling.
center of the pack.
You bet.
In lane 4, they are making it happen.
Good exchange all the way around.
And it's definitely Central with the stagger in the middle in lane 4. They got the great first leg and now getting a pretty good second leg.
They're really stretching it out because this they're all on a stagger, and Central is way out. They're at least a second and a half ahead of everybody else, maybe 2 seconds now.
They are just destroying the field here, as we thought they might with their best time of 1:41.38 this season. And we'll have to see how the battle for second, third, and fourth goes in this race. But right now, the Lady Eagles of Central.
And this is Muna Lee coming on now. She got the baton on her right hand, and off she goes. They're just running by themselves.
And a pack ready for second and third. It looks like Hickman Mills and Raytown South and Blue Springs, and on the inside possibly Lee Summit. But Central is out of here. To the tape they go, and this might even be their best time of the season. I got them in 1:40.53, and it looks like Hickman Mills, Raytown South, Blue Springs all in a bunch there for second, third, and fourth places, but clearly Central. I don't know what your time was there, Tom.
I was in 1:40.8, so we're in the close range.
And easily a meet record.
This exchange to Muna Lee, and she's going to get the baton in her left hand, and she'll change to her right hand. And bringing home the mail, she's going to just really pack it in. She's certainly has a great stride. Good angle on her, just running away from the pack.
And Tom, I think I said Hickman Mills, but they weren't even in the race. It was either Lee Summit North or Raytown South that actually was fighting for second, third, and fourth. We'll have to see how that goes. Remember, all the official results will come to you at the end of our broadcast. But clearly, Kansas City Central and those Lady Eagles have a team to be reckoned with at State when they head off to Jeff City. And now we're ready for the boys 4x200 meter relay. Here are the lane assignments. Lee Summit in lane 1, Belton lane 2, Grandview lane 3, Raytown South in lane 4, Blue Springs in lane 5, Oak Park lane 6, Park Hill lane 7, and Excelsior Springs in lane 8.
Neil, Raytown South is first in the Metro with an all-time best of 128.8. And they look like they're going to be hard to beat.
I was talking to a couple of the Raytown South runners prior to the meet, Tom, and I think they have taken some of their guys that might have done okay in the open and really bunched up their relay teams here. And they have some really nice sprinters over at Raytown South.
Well, a lot of teams will do what we call stack a relay, where they'll put their ultimate best and then maybe hold them out of the other events. But 128.8 is a pretty good time.
Well, again, we don't have all the participants in the relay for you. There's Grandview in lane 3.
If Gasaway anchors this, I tell you what, I would think Grandview would be a contender because but on paper, they're 3 seconds slower.
And starter Terry Keaton ready to get this thing underway, has the gun out in the boys 4x200 meter relay.
Neil, Bob Craddock is actually the boys' starter, and Terry Keaton
that's right.
is the girls.
You're right.
By the way, he's a Missouri Track and Field Hall of Famer, Bob Craddock. And off they go once again. The baton exchange is all-time critical.
Remember, Raytown South and also Grandview.
Blue Springs is in there
Blue
with a
Springs
130.
has a nice time as well this season. They'll run staggers the whole way in this race.
I had an unofficial on the baton at 22.8 for the first leg. First split. Raytown South is in the lead right now, but Grandview is right on their heels.
Well, I'll tell you
Grandview in third lane.
Tom, Blue Springs is running a great race as well. Out there
Good
in
exchanges
lane
all the
5.
way.
So you got Blue Springs, Raytown South, Grandview all there together.
Now it comes down. Look, Raytown South. Look at this. Watch him pull away.
What a third leg by Ray
Wow.
South right here. My goodness.
See what kind of an exchange they have.
And remember, if
Good
Gasaway's
exchange.
in this thing, they
Blue
might
Springs
have a
is in
chance.
second place. Blue Springs is going to contend here. Now comes the Grandview young man. I don't believe that's Gasaway.
Raytown South in the center, followed by Grandview in second.
It's Blue Springs in third and Lee Summit in fourth.
So Raytown South goes to victory. Tom, do you have an unofficial time there?
Well, I had a 1:31.5.
Okay. So Raytown South, your unofficial winner. Grandview, or your official winner, your unofficial time, a 1:30. And Grandview in second, Blue Springs in third. Didn't see who picked up the fourth place. And let's take a look at that last exchange once again.
If you'll notice, they actually start outside of the zone, and they can't get the baton until they're in that 22-meter zone. Good exchange. The idea is the incoming runner and the outgoing runner to be matching their speed, and that makes for the good exchange. And there's Raytown South winning it. Grandview second, Blue Springs third, and I believe Lee Summit was fourth.
Well, we'll have another look here. Raytown South in first, Grandview in second.
Lane one.
Blue
Yeah, there it
Springs
is.
in third, and Lee
There it is.
Summit
Yep, Lee
comes
Summit.
on,
Come
and
on.
they will move on to Jeff City, those top four. And there are the Grandview folks that finished second here today. And Raytown South, the Cardinals, with their team of 4x200-meter relay folks, winning the relay here today. And we'll take a break here on Metro Sports. Back with the Missouri's 4A sectional right after this. Four laps of the track here in the 1,600-meter run for the girls. Amy Wiseman has the meet record at 4:48.20 for Lee Summit last year, and in fact, or not last year, but 2 years ago, and in fact, she is in the field. There she is in Alley 1, and you look at the assignments there. Tom, why don't you talk a little bit about how they start the 1,600 meter here in the alleys?
This is the first year they've had what they call the super alley concept, in which lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4 are an alley, and those runners have to stay in that for 2 full turns. They can't cut until they get to the 300-meter mark. The second alley is lanes 5 through 8, and they cannot cut in side lane 5, the second alley, until they get to 300 meters. So it's a new concept.
And there is Amy Wiseman. What an outstanding young lady she is. She was one of the finalists for the Scholar Athlete Award here in Kansas City. I had the privilege of voting on that award, and Amy Wiseman, looking over her stats over the years, she's participated in so many sports. Obviously, she's a great track and field runner. And here she is in the 1,600 meter trying to defend her district title here.
Neil, Metro Sports covered the KU relays, and we saw her there just run away from the pack. And she's going to Nebraska. She's ranked in the top 5 in the nation. We'll see what kind of time she turns in here, because she should be able to run down under 5 minutes. I've got a watch on her, so we'll see what she's doing in her time, in her splits. So here they come to the first 300 meters, so where they can make the cut. You know, watch the other girls. They can cut in right there at the cone. Now they can cut across, if you notice. Usually this is a pretty tactical race. they'll run what I call a pace, press, and kick routine. That is where their coach is predetermined with them how they'll run each quarter. For instance, her first quarter is right at 62 seconds unofficially from my watch. And she'll probably try to hit a mark at the 200 meters. That gets her down the road. The other three runners obviously are going to just try to stay as close to contact as they can. Anne-Marie Brooks from St. Joe Central is in here also, Neil. And she is the young lady that upset Amy in the cross-country meet, the state cross-country meet. So she is also a contender.
And also I'm resting.
Well, Amy Wiseman leading right now. That was Rachel King of Liberty leading a bunch of runners that are probably about 10, 15 meters behind Amy Wiseman right now. And Rachel King has had a pretty solid season as well for Liberty. She is a junior. Amy is senior.
Well, Amy's going out pretty hard. The other girls are hanging in there with her, but she looks like she's going to go for the record. She's a strong runner. She runs with her arms high. It gives her good balance, good high knees.
Morgan Ouimet of Grandview is in that bunch as well. And also from St. Joe Central, Anne-Marie Brooks.
She was a 2:27. She's a little she was about 6 seconds slower in her second lap than she was in her first one, Neil. So she's trying to hold it. So getting back to the race strategy, when she's out there by herself, she's trying to pace herself to the first half. And then I used to coach what we call press the third quarter, because that's usually where they lay back and lose their time, especially when they're well out in front like Amy is. She's running totally by herself. So the rest of the pack, the second, third, and fourth girls are still bunched.
Tom, that's got to be 30 or 40 meters right now that she has on the pack.
At least.
As she's coming around the turn on lane 3 here. Amy Wiseman leading the girls' 1,600 meter run here in the sectionals.
Well, she gave up the 800 meters, Neil, where last year she won all three, 800, 3,200 meters, and 1,600. This time she did not run the 800 meters for some reason.
Craig, you can get the gunshot. We can't get across. He's standing in the middle of the
That's
track.
Amy Wiseman, very strong runner. Now this is the gun lap. You know, in high school, Neil, they still use the gun. In all collegiate events and Olympic events, they use a bell. She was a 3:40 at the three-quarter mark.
So Amy Wiseman continues to lead this race by what must be about 80 or 90 meters right now.
You know, she's just so fluid. When you view her from the side, looking at her from the side, she just looks like she's sailing.
And in second place, I believe that's Anne-Marie Brooks of St. Joe Central.
Right.
And also Rachel King of Liberty is right there with her in third.
He wants to show the pavement.
You should have taken that low shot the first lap, but I can't.
And then, so remember the top 4 places go.
And it's a battle too. They're just in there fighting tooth and nail. The second, third, and fourth runners are just working as hard as they can, because they know this is their last chance. If you're a senior and you don't make it to the state, this is the most memorable track meet of your life.
So there's Amy Wiseman, who is your winner. Let's look at the race for second, third, and fourth. Now, all of these young ladies will go to the state meet, but it's Rachel King along with Anne-Marie Brooks, and I think also in there is Katie Meehan from Sedalia Smith Cotton. So all 4 of those runners will go, including Amy Wiseman, who just crushed the field here in the Missouri 4A sectional.
I had her in 4:54, and so she's well off the record that she set last year.
But that's her best time of the season. Her best coming in here was 5:01.1. And Amy Wiseman has bettered that and looking for even better in Jeff City at the state meet. And let's go down to Chad Harberts, who has Amy Wiseman. Chad?
Well, I'm here with no surprise, Amy Wiseman, who won the mile run by about 90 meters. Amy, a good run for you on your way to state.
It's all right. Not what I wanted, but it's all right, I guess.
What was your goal coming into today?
Under 450, so about 4 seconds off. I was just hoping to be around 448 so I could go for the state record next week, but this week we'll taper and I should feel fresh going in state.
You've had such an outstanding career at Lee Summit. It's just about come to a close. When you look back, how do you feel about how your career has progressed?
Every year my times have gotten faster, so especially in the summer. I mean, it's been terrific. The community's helped support me, the fans, and it's been great. So hopefully I can continue it through college.
All right, Amy Wiseman, a blowout victory in the 1,600 meters. Back up to you, Neil.
Thanks, Chad, and I think you see a little bit of why she is such a special young lady over there at Lee Summit. She does it in the classroom as well. Amy Wiseman, the winner in the 1,600 meters. The boys' 1,600-meter run here in the Missouri 4A sectional. There are your two alleys. Matt John, Steve O'Brien of North Kansas City has the best time this season, 4:20.2. Rob, and there they are as the gun has gone off and we're ready for the 1,600 meter as they embark on lane or lap one here.
There's 3 athletes, Neil, that run in the 420s. Steve O'Brien, as you said, he's the first in the Metro at 420, and he's from North Kansas City. Daniel Paris is 4th in the Metro. He's a 426 miler. And David Alexander from Oak Park is a 423 miler. He's 2nd in the Metro. So we should have a good race here. It looks like it evenly matched.
Again, Tom, talk about the alley start again, just to refresh our memories on how that works.
Well, the alley system is the first year they've used it this year, and they have to run in that alley for 300 meters to keep from the jostling, and it works pretty good. The tactics of this race, of course, are top 4 go, and the second 4 don't get to go, so they're running a pretty tactical race at this time. I had the first lap in a 63 seconds, so that's reasonably quick for high school youngsters.
And right now it's Rob Ryder of Rockhurst leading the pack. Well, until he was overtaken right there by Mr. O'Brien. Steve O'Brien now in the lead of North Kansas City, and coming up on the outside is David Alexander from Oak Park. And they have the 2 best times in the area this season. I'm talking about O'Brien at 4:20.2 and David Alexander at 4:23.9.
Still a pretty good bunched field. Really, those top 3 youngsters we talked about earlier are pretty closely matched. O'Brien looks pretty strong. If you outside shoulder, Lee Summit North, Daniel Paris.
And then right behind those two is David Alexander. So right now it's O'Brien, followed by Paris of Lee Summit North and Alexander of Oak Park. And they are the 3 that lead the way right now, with some separation on the rest of the field of about 20 meters right now. And remember, the top 4 places go. So 4th place, very important here to move on to live and see another track meet this season in Jeff City in the state finals.
They were about 2:15 at the half, which is pretty decent. They're rolling pretty good. Paris is in 2nd place, hanging right off the outside shoulder of O'Brien, and with David Alexander kind of falling back as we come around the curve here into the 3rd straightaway.
Come on, Matt! Be the man!
How relaxed O'Brien is. Unloosens his arms.
O'Brien looking very relaxed. As you get the gun lap here, O'Brien, Paris, followed by Alexander.
They're 3:12 of the 3/4 marks. Now they're going to start their kick.
And I think Ryan Fitzgerald of Lee Summit is in 4th place right now.
4 by 1, boys.
But O'Brien moves out his lead. Paris trying to go with him here. Again, followed by Alexander. O'Brien's lead is about 10 meters right now. Here comes Alexander with a little bit of a kick down the back straightaway. And he's closing in on Paris.
we're going to have a good race for second place, Neil, because O'Brien's going to run away with this race. And sure enough, Davey Alexander just overtook Daniel Paris.
So it's Steve O'Brien striding out in the 1,600 meters. Alexander with a good closing kick will get second place, followed by Paris. And then actually for Blue Springs, that's Matt John, who's going to take fourth place. And so those are your top four in the 1,600 meters. And the winner, Steve O'Brien.
I had him in 4:25, but I'm pretty far off today, I think, on this race.
From way up here.
I think I'm far off up here.
Well, you talked about how relaxed O'Brien ran this race, and there's a good look at it.
If you'll notice through the race, he actually let his arms down.
Steve O'Brien wins the 1,600-meter run for North Kansas City. He'll move on to Jeff City. And the state finals coming up next, the 4x100-meter relay. And we'll have it on Metro Sports right after this. And now we're ready for the girls 4x100-meter relay. There's the meet record time of 48:04 by Van Horn way back in 1985. And in lane 4, it's Raytown South that we'll be looking for. They have the best time in the metro area, 49.3. They're in lane 4. Lee Summit in 1, Hickman Mills 2, KC Central in 3, Blue Springs, Oak Park, Excelsior Springs, and Truman rounding out the field. And I would say, Tom, we probably would be looking for Central and Raytown South to have a pretty good battle here in this one.
If the 4x200-meter relay is any indication, Central blew everybody away. I'm anxious to see how they run this one, because I will bet you the same 4 girls are running in this race. Once again, this is a baton exchange race. You can be as fast as you can be, and if you drop the baton or don't get it in the zone, it'll cost you. Right now, we've got with Central, Raytown South, and Blue Springs all in there together.
And it's Raytown South on top.
One more. Here comes
Central, though, up on the inside lane. And the final leg being run by Natalie Talley for Raytown South, and it looks like they're pulling away. That's Lakeisha Williamson of Central trying to track her down, but it's going to be Raytown South in the 4x1.
Central second. Hickman Mills looked like they were in there for third.
Here's the winning team. That is Natalie Talley, a senior from Raytown South. The leadoff was Tasha Gentry, followed by Erica Cozy in the second leg, and then Jamie Heenan in leg 3, handing off to Natalie Talley, and Raytown South wins this race.
Good exchanges all the way around.
That's Jamie Heenan right there. She's a junior from Raytown South, moving it out.
Coming up to the final exchange now, where this is the most critical one. I've seen more races lost right there. That's Raytown South.
And right there is Natalie Talley on the left of Raytown South, and Lakeisha Williamson of Kansas City Central. And they finish 1-2 in this race, and there's a good look at Natalie Talley, the senior, the Cardinal from Raytown South. They're the winners in the girls 4x100-meter relay. The boys 4x1, and Tom, this could be anybody's race here. I mean, they are bunched together. We have some outstanding sprinters in this race. You see the lane assignments here. I think really anybody in lanes 2 through what looked to be about 5 or 6 have times that are bunched all right there together. Hickman Mills has the meet record 41.90 back in 95.
There's not a half a second difference in 4 teams on paper coming in. But like we talked about earlier, Neil, these teams will do what we call stack, and I think that's what Raytown South has done, and I think Gasaway is going to anchor for Grandview, so this could be really a good race.
Well, Raytown has a good time. Blue Springs also has a 43.2 this season. Those are the 2 best times. You are looking at Willie Fields of Blue Springs, and he's a sophomore leading off this race. That was Daryl Bennett of Raytown, a senior, starting off for the Blue Jays. And Central also has a pretty good team in this race. They're in lane 1 on the inside, and that is Lindell Harris, who will get it going with a little help from his friend in the starting blocks. And this should be an outstanding race. I said lane 2. I didn't even put Central in there. They're in lane 1. And there's Park Hill.
43.62.
Yeah, Park Hill, not bad. Chris Friends, a senior, will be opening up for them. And for Grandview, that is Rafik McDaniel in lane 1, or in the first leg of this race for Grandview. And remember, Byron Gassaway will anchor it for Grandview, and he won the 100 meters earlier. All kinds of great sprinters. Raytown South has a bunch of good sprinters in this as well.
The critical part of this race is the baton exchange itself, because they are so equally matched. It's going to be who can be the slickest with the baton exchanges. Bob Craddock, the starter, has got the gun up. They're off. Here they go. This first exchange will really be interesting to see who comes out of this one.
Good start by Raytown's Daryl Bennett.
First exchange is by Blue Springs, as a matter of fact. Blue Springs is look pretty tough. Third exchange, Grandview's right on top of it.
Remember, Byron Gassaway won the 100 meters already. If he gets it close, we should see some fireworks here.
Good exchanges. He's pretty far out of it, though. It's going to be Raytown South.
It is Raytown South moving away.
Here comes Gassaway. If Gassaway had another 10 yards, he'd get him.
Larry McGee, the anchor for Raytown South. He got it in good position from Andrew Douglas, and Raytown South, the Cardinals,
they
move it out and win it here in the 4x1.
I had him in 42.4, but my angle is really not good.
And if that would hold, that would be their best time of the season. And let's take a look at the last two exchanges, and I think Grandview might have had a problem here. They were right in the thick of it.
Absolutely. I think the place that Grandview had the biggest problem was with the anchor exchange. Yeah. They didn't get that exchange off very slick. Raytown South was right on the money all the way.
And for Raytown South, that is Larry McGee moving it out. Gassaway was to his right, your left on the screen. And there are his fellas. Raytown South. Tareen Rollins led it off. Andrew Douglas was the second leg. Brian Brooks, an outstanding sprinter, was the third leg, and it was brought home by Larry McGee. They win the 4x1. My partner Tom Coyle just told me that the track meet will now begin with his favorite race, the 400 meters. And here we go in the girls' action. The meet record by Banks of Southwest High School, 55.92. That's pretty impressive. And let's set the field for you. Sarah Stanley of Blue Springs, Siobhan Robinson, Kansas City Northeast. She is appearing in seemingly everything at this point. Sheba Clark, Park Hill, Cara Klein of Liberty, Jessica Cocker of Lee Summit. You've got Spence of Lee Summit North, Walker of Raytown South, and Claudine Estes of Kansas City Central. And Tom, your best times so far in the area this season is by Sheba Clark, and there she is, 58.1.
She looks pretty good. She's second in the Metro. Cara Klein is a junior from Liberty, and she's got a 58.3, so on paper, this should be a really good race. Jessica Cocker has a 59 flat, so this should be a good race.
We're looking at Cara Klein right there of Liberty. She will be running in lane 4. Tom, she's an excellent 800-meter runner as well. In fact, she holds the best time in the 800 meters this season in the area at 2:15.4. on the Kansas City Star Honor Roll. So here she is running the 400 meter and running in lane 4, the district champion with a 58.4.
As I was kidding with you, the track meet has just now begun for me because this is one of the events that not only did I run, I got to coach some very fine athletes. I love this one. I love the 800 meters. They're my two loves in track and field.
And Siobhan Robinson, you saw her of Northeast.
Starter Terry Keaton has them going to their blocks. He's pulled them up for some reason. Something we've never talked about yet, but in high school, it is a no false start rule. And if they jump, they're out. They don't. There's no 1 or 2 like we saw in the Olympic Games where Linford Christie, if you recall, was put out of the race for jumping twice. And this is a no false start.
Well, that's why when we say good start, we mean it, just because they got out of the blocks.
Correct.
I mean, because
Correct.
Any jump and they're disqualified.
Once again, Terry Keaton has got them ready to go. Guns up. They're off. I'll try to get a 200-meter split to see how Kara Klein is doing at the 200 meters. This is a pretty good strategy race. Usually, your first 200 meters, you try to get out, get a good position, and then, but not too fast, and then press to the 300 meters because from the 300 meters in is that last 100 meters is really tough.
Well, right now, Sheba Clark moving out pretty good for the first 300 meters of the race in lane 3.
And she was a little over 30 seconds at the 200 meters, Neil.
And here comes Kara Klein with a bit of a kick as they come into the straightaway, but it's still Sheba Clark on top, and on the outside, it's Jennifer Walker of Raytown South. Pretty good race, but it's Sheba Clark that's running away. And it's Sheba Clark of Park Hill that wins the 400 meters.
I had her unofficially in a 58.7, and she certainly ran away from it. The real tight part of the race is going to be for second, third, fourth, and fifth. All of the rest of those girls were right in there like a blanket. Here's the finish again. Well, Kara Klein's obviously out, but look at the going for fourth.
Kara Klein in there. Also, Siobhan Robinson of Northeast was in there. Let's take a look from this angle, and we'll be able to tell how they finished. There's Kara Klein in second, Siobhan Robinson in third, and I think in lane 1, Sarah Stanley of Blue Springs. So those are your top 4 that will move on to Jeff City. And right there's your winner, Sheba Clark, in an unofficial time of 58.7. The boys 400-meter dash, and here are the lane assignments. Adam Mack in lane 1 of Blue Springs, Robert Walker, Norman Berryman, Glenn Hunt. He's the guy that's run a 49.23 in the class of this field. He's in lane 4. Eddie Abera from Oak Park, Chris Friends, Danny Walker, and Kevin Smith of Kansas City Northeast. And there's your meet record of 47.85, set back in 1984 by Bobby Cohens of Northeast.
That's blazing.
That's pretty good. You know, the class of the 400 meter, as you look at Glenn Hunt in lane 4, is really over on the Kansas side. Glenn Hunt does have the 3rd best time in the area this season of 49.3, but Ignac Poe, Vincent Jones, and John Bodenheimer over there, Bodenheimer from Olathe East and Jones from Shawnee Mission West, they've really clicked off some good times this season.
Guns up. Bob Craddock is the starter for the boys. The first 200 meters is really critical, and Glenn Hunt is immediately going out taking command of this race. He's eaten up 3 staggers already.
Mercy.
He is blowing this field apart at this moment.
Coach, give me a 200 time on that clock.
Here he comes. 22 flat. He's a little quick. He's a little quick. To run under 50, though, he has to be in 23 seconds or he won't make it. But this
is either going to be a personal best or the piano's going to hop on his back about
here.
Here.
He's rolling good. Look at that arms. Look how strong he is in the shoulders. got his knees up. As long as you keep your arms moving, it keeps your inertia going.
Glenn Hunt in first. It looks like Chris Friends from Park Hill was right there to take second.
Neil, I had him in 48.5, unofficial, of course, but we've been pretty close every once in a while. What a strong runner, but you know, he went out in that first 200 meters. He went out in that first 200 meters, and he was in 22.5. You've got to be under 23 seconds to make it in under 50. And he is just so strong. Look at those strong arms. Runs clear through the tape. Very powerful runner.
That was impressive as he peels off portions of the finish line. It's Glenn Hunt, 48.5 unofficially. He wins the 400 meter with ease. And we'll be back with more here on Metro Sports. We'll have the 300 intermediate hurdles right after this. Welcome back to Blue Springs High School, the Missouri 4A sectional track meet. The top 4 finishers in each race move on to the Jeff City, but Chad Harberts has an interested viewer of these races. Chad, take it away.
Well, Neil, amongst all the fans and athletes and coaches out here, I find an old friend of yours, Dave Kruger, the head track and field coach at UMKC. Coach, it's Saturday afternoon out at Blue Springs watching some track and field.
Oh, it's a beautiful day, Chad. I always enjoy a good track meet, particularly out here at Blue Springs. They do a great job of putting on a track meet.
Now, you've really built the UMKC program off the local athletes.
Well, you know, I really have. I'd say 80% of my athletes on my team are from the Kansas City metropolitan area. So, you know, I like those Kansas City kids, no doubt about it.
And meanwhile, you're out here in Blue Springs. There's a big track meet going on back at UMKC.
Oh, we have about 500 to 700 kids running back there in the AAU level right now in the Memorial Day Classic. So, yeah, we're pretty busy today.
All right, Dave Kruger, out of season, but still a busy man. Back to you, Neil.
All right, Coach Kruger, there's your lane assignments for the 300 intermediate hurdles, and the race is already on. Look for Lawless in lane 4. She's run 45-1 this season. She is out of Blue Springs South, and she's moving it out right now.
This is 8 hurdles, Neil. And by the way, there's 45 meters or 15 yards in between, and the girls usually run 17 to 19 steps to stay on key.
And look at Kendra Lawless from Blue Springs South.
She's trying to stretch over that hurdle.
Coming up on the outside from Liberty is Amber Harris, it looks like. And I think she's going to take second, but it's Kendra Lawless, the senior from Blue Springs South, that wins the 300-meter intermediate hurdles.
The critical part of this race is getting over the hurdles, obviously. They don't, here comes the start. We're back to the start. Kendra Lawless from Blue Springs South is a 45-1, second in the Metro. If you'll notice the steps she takes and how relaxed she is, bends at the waist. The object, you don't have to get down real low on those hurdles. This hurdle is not like the highs.
Let's go down to Chad Harberts with the winner. Chad.
Well, thank you, Neil. I'm here with Kendra Lawless of Blue Springs South. Kendra, a nice run.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How do you feel about how you raced today?
I feel pretty good. Felt a little hot, though. It's kind of humid out here. But overall, I felt real good about the race.
Now, you're senior heading back to Jefferson City. Are you ready for the state meet?
I sure am. I've been getting prepared. I think I'm ready this year.
All right, Kendra Lawless from Blue Springs South, the winner in the hurdles.
All right, Chad, thanks a lot. Kendra excited about moving on to Jeff City. A little out of breath there, but I'll tell you what, nice voice, good presentation. She's got a chance to take your job up here, Tom.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll always bow to the youth. I will bow to the youth, I promise you.
Kendra Lawless, the winner of the 300-meter intermediate hurdles. Here's the field for the boys' 300 intermediate hurdles, and you'll look once again at the top hurdler in the area, Joe Cromley from Blue Springs. He has the best time in 38.7, but also look right next to him in lane 3, Matt Fisher. And then don't count Roy Brown out of this from Belton. Those appear to be the 3 best runners in this field based on their times this season anyway.
Joe Cromley has got a really good chance at the record. The record is 38 flat, and he has a 38.7, so he could shave about 0.7 of a second off there and possibly get the record, especially as nice a day as it is. But if you remember, he's also a young lad that has a little ankle problem.
Well, and for Coach Parker of Blue Springs, who owns a record here, 1967, Tom, he has the record for the 180 lows, and I guess that's pretty safe because they don't run it anymore.
Well, we moved up. We moved up right shortly after that, in somewhere in 1980s to the 300 meters. We used to run it as a specialty event, and that's usually what they do, run it as a specialty event for years and then let them run.
And I think possibly you timed him with that watch you're holding there in 1967, huh?
It is very possible because I was at Ruskin High School in those days, and he wasn't in our division. Blue Springs at that time was a small school. There goes the gun. Coach Craddock lets him go. Cromley's, you'll notice he's trying to take 15 steps. He's got 8 hurdles. He's not worried about getting down low. He's more of a quarter miler here than he is anything else, but inside of him,
Fisher
Matt
running
from
pretty
St.
well.
Joe Central has a 39.1. It looks like he is taking over the race. Of course, it's far from over. Here comes Cromley back. Here comes Cromley back.
Cromley with the kick just blew right by the field.
See how he does on this critical last hurdle.
And Joe Cromley to the tape in second. Matt Fisher, the senior from St. Joe Central. But Joe Cromley, an unofficial time I have here of 38.8. He just picked it up, turned each way, and took off with about 70 meters left and blew right past Matt Fisher of St. Joe Central. Fisher got second. We'll try to get the rest of the finishes here on the replay. But Cromley wins it unofficially 38.8.
As they come down the straightaway now, he retakes the race. Remember in the first of the race, it looked like he kind of floated there in the around the 5th and 6th hurdle. He was just kind of floating. You'll notice how he leans. He doesn't try to get down low on the hurdle. You want to make sure you're high over that hurdle.
Joe Cromley has doubled up. He won the 110-meter high hurdles. Now he wins the 300 intermediate hurdles. We'll be back with more on Metro Sports. And now we're ready for the girls' 800-meter run here on Metro Sports. The meet record held by Amy Wiseman in 1996. She's not in the field, as we talked to you about before. She's running the 1600 and 3200. But it's Kara Klein who will be in Alley 1 with the best time in the area out of Liberty. And she took second place in the 400 meters earlier today. Her best time, 2:15.4. And had the best time in the district with 2:21.5, but her best time in the season, 2:15.4. How about that attempt, Tom, to double up the 400 and the 800 meter? What a tough task that is.
They're off, Neil. It's a tough double. Just within a 45 minutes or to come back is very difficult. We'll see how she does, but because evidently she's been doing it all year, because she's 4th in the Metro in the 400 meters. At 58.3, and then she's 1st in the Metro at 2:15. She ran a 2:21, however, last week in the district. Keep in mind they're running this super alley concept, and the girls in lanes 5, 6, and 7 cannot cut in until they get around the first or the second turn, actually, at the what I call the 300-meter mark.
Lisa Buffington is in second place right behind Rachel King, the junior. Buffington, a senior. And then right behind Buffington is Nancy Micheletti. She's a senior from Blue Springs, and she owns a pretty good time this season of 2:22.03. And she was also a very good 400-meter runner this season, with the best in the 400 meters. Micheletti, I'm talking about, of 58.11.
Well, they were just about 67 seconds at the first 400 meters. And so they're on a pretty much of a 2:15 to 2:20 pace right now. You notice how bunched the field is now.
It's still Rachel King leading.
two Liberty girls. Liberty girls 1 and 2. That's Kara Klein.
Or excuse me, Kara
Klein
Klein leading.
Okay. And Rachel King, both from Liberty, 1-2. Now comes the tough part. The last 110 meters or so.
Here comes Micheletti from Blue Springs making up some ground here, trying to track down Kara Klein.
And it looks like maybe Micheletti might get her.
And from Lee Summit North, Mindy Lennox, a senior, coming up in 4th place. So you'll clearly have the top 4 finishers here.
Well, I had Kara Klein in 2:18.3, so that's not too bad to come back from that double I was talking about.
So Kara Klein and Lisa Buffington takes 5th in this one, but Micheletti was in there from Blue Springs, also Rachel King from Liberty. And in 4th place, Mindy Lennox from Lee Summit North.
It appeared in the last 50 or 60 meters that Nancy Micheletti is going to overtake her, but she didn't get the job done. Kara Klein might have been just laying back trying to qualify, because that's really the name of this game here today, is just to qualify, because even though their times make a difference in the seeding, it's not that critical.
Kara Klein wins the girls' 800-meter run. The boys' 800-meter run here on Metro Sports, and it's Luke Kramer and Josiah James of Liberty are in Alley 1. Ryder from Rockhurst, Adams from Raytown South, Dalby is from Lee Summit. Schlick is a scratch now from Raytown South, so he won't be in this race. Borman from Oak Park, and Kelly from Excelsior Springs.
Josiah James is 3rd in the Metro with a 157.3, and Jared Adams in the same alley is a 159.2. He's 5th in the Metro. It appears like most of the strength in the Metro area is from St. Thomas Aquinas on the other side of the river here in Missouri, in Kansas.
Yeah, they have 3-4 guys that go under 2 over there. And Josiah James, however, one of the best in the area. On your right, that's Luke Kramer. He's a junior from Liberty. On the left, Josiah James. His personal best this season, 157.2. I'm talking about James. And Jared Adams of Raytown South is 159.2 coming in here for his best.
Remember, they're going to run really the 2 turns in alleys before they can cut in. The boys in lanes 5, 6, and 7 have to stay out side of lane 5. And of course, the guys in the lanes 1, 2, and 3 can run anywhere they want to. See, notice the cones down the backstretch? They can't cut in until they get around the turn.
Does anybody have the advantage, in your opinion, in that? I mean, is it?
Well, the advantage is for all the athletes. It used to be they stood them on a stagger line, or what they call a waterfall line, and they'd all cut in and get pushed down, knocked, tripped, and that's the whole goal. So it's a fair race. There's no advantage or disadvantage.
Oh, and somebody went down, it looked like, in the back.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. One of the Liberty boys
I
went
think
down.
that's Josiah James that went down. And grabbing himself in pain down there, possibly a hamstring. So the one that figured to be the winner in this one is out of it. So now the race is on.
They were 57.9 at the 400 meters, Neil, and that's a pretty reasonable time. They're going to run under 2 minutes here. Pretty good bunch, pretty well bunched field. That's too bad that happened, because that was exactly why they didn't, why they went to the alley concept. They're 127 to the 600 meters, which is a pretty good time. So they're going to run under 2 minutes here.
And I think that's for Rockhurst moving it out. Rob Ryder, the senior. And let's see what kind of kick he's got left as the pack is coming after him. And one of them is Matt Borman from Oak Park. And here comes Borman. Borman will take him.
Blew him out.
And win this one. And then you've got the top 4 finishers moving on to Jeff City. That's going to be pretty close to see who pulled that off.
Unofficial 158.5 on my watch.
And that would be the best time of the season for Matt Borman, who came in here with a personal best of 159.9. The big news in this one, though, at the other end of the track, that is Josiah James, the sophomore for Liberty.
And he's
forecasted to be the winner in this race, and he goes down with some type of leg problem there.
Right. There he comes. He's pulled a muscle. He's pulled like
Maybe
a hamstring. Right. Look at him grab his leg, Neil. So he wasn't pushed down. I thought, well, maybe he got pushed down, and he just went down. It looked like a hamstring problem to me. Yeah, he's in great pain.
And
this is
laboring as they head to the finish, and it was Matt Borman. And then Rob Ryder of Rockhurst. Also ducking in there was Jared Adams of Raytown South, I believe, for third.
And then the fourth place is...
Fourth position, I think, is John Dalby of Lee Summit or John Kelly of Excelsior Springs. We'll have the official results at the end. Let's go down to Chad Harberts, who may have a report here for us. Chad.
Well, Neil, they're down here looking at Josiah James right now. They say out of the curve he came up with a cramp and went down. He's in a lot of pain, but the trainer's looking at him, and I think right now he's more hurt over not being able to finish the race than he is from the actual cramp.
So that's the story, and boy, that is big news and heartbreaking news for the Liberty fans. Josiah James, the sophomore, at least he's got a couple of more years that he can get back in there, Tom, and regroup and head off to state.
Right.
But coming up with the cramp on that first turn in the 800 meters. But your winner in this one is Matt Borman of Oak Park, unofficially, 158.9. We'll be back with more here on Metro Sports from Blue Springs High School. Coming up, the 200-meter dash. Back at the 4A sectional track and field meet, girls and boys. Top 4 places move on to Jeff City in each event, and we now have the girls 200-meter dash. The gun is already out. There is the record time. Try to set the lanes for you quickly. Muna Lee is the one to look for in lane 4. She has an area best 24.95 this season.
Terry Keaton's got the gun up, and they're off.
And a good start by Muna Lee right in the center of the field. Here she comes working that turn pretty well. On the inside, it's Natalie Talley from Raytown South hanging pretty tough, though. Muna Lee and Natalie Talley involved in a good race here, but it looks like Muna Lee's going to hold her off. They sprint to the tape, and it goes Lee Talley, and we'll have to revisit the tape to see who picked up third and fourth.
I had her in an unofficial 24.9, which isn't too bad.
No, that equals her best of the season, coming in here 24.95, which is also the best in the area.
Here it comes again. Natalie Talley is really putting on the challenge. She was on the inside lane there from Muna Lee, but notice how relaxed Muna Lee is. Just a good arm movement, runs through the tape.
So Muna Lee in first as she breaks the tape, followed by Natalie Talley from Raytown South. Boy, then it is close. Up top, Lakeisha Williamson of Central. And then it was anybody's call as to who got fourth. And again, we'll have all the official results later on in this broadcast. Let's go down to Chad Harberts. Chad.
Well, thank you, Neil. I'm down here with the man behind this event, Gary Parker, 21 seasons as the head track coach here at Blue Springs High. And Coach Parker, really a great day for this meet and a great job by all the area coaches helping out.
Well, it is. You know, all the timers are coaches from the Kansas City area, all the curve judges, you know, they're doing a super job. You know, it's really running smooth.
I know you're pretty modest, but 13 straight district championships, a state record. How do you feel about that accomplishment?
It's pretty neat for the kids. You know, it's great to be able to coach the kids that we've had here, and it is exciting for the kids.
And your team is doing pretty well today as well.
So far, so good. You know, we've had some fifth places. Of course, that leaves the kids at home, but we also have quite a few qualifiers.
All right, thank you, Coach Parker. Gary Parker, the head coach at Blue Springs High, the man behind this great sectional this afternoon.
Thanks, Chad, and thanks, Coach Parker. And there is Muna Lee that just won the 200-meter. But, and we'll talk a little bit more. That's your final of the 200-meter. Muna Lee, the winner in 24-9 unofficially. The boys' 200-meter dash. Here's the field. In the center of it, Byron Gassaway trying to double up here. He won the 100 meters, but right next to him in lane 3 is Glenn Hunt from Central. And shoot, Tom, if he runs the first 200 like he did in winning the 400 meters, that's probably good enough to place in this race as fast as he went out.
Well, good quarter milers will do that. You know, you've got to run under 23, and he cruises at 22. At least that's what I saw.
And there they are together.
This should be a good race, but Byron Gassaway is obviously the class of the field. He won the 100, but Glenn Hunt won the 400, and now this is the battle of the in-betweens.
Well, Gassaway owns the second best time in the area this season, 21.7. Ignac Poe over there at Olathe North threw a 21.03 at him the other day in the Sunflower League meet. Please.
That's great. But that's what should happen this time of year. The weather warms up and the kids can start to really roll. It's too bad in our part of the country that our track and field is so early, and they quit so early because the weather is so great. You go to Texas and California, their times are far exceed ours because they got the weather. I've always wondered why we did it at this time of the year, but it's the way it goes.
And you couldn't fix that in 30 years, Coach? Come on.
I tell you, I had absolutely no impact on it.
That's all right. You've got your porcelain watch ready to go, haven't you? Here we go, 200
I got it
meters.
ready to go. The starter is Bob Craddock, Missouri Track and Field Hall of Fame, coached for over 30 years at Raytown South, at Lee Summit, finished up at Lee Summit. Tremendous track enthusiast. He's one of the real true leaders of track and field in the Kansas City metro area.
And he has the gun out right now for the boys' 200-meter dash. Top 4 move on to Jeff City. And we're looking for the probable battle here. Lanes 3 and 4. Hunt from Central and Gassaway from Grandview.
Gassaway got away quick. But Hunt's a quarter miler. He'll come on late.
Here they come. Gassaway in front. Hunt's going to make his move right now. Gassaway and Hunt. In lane 5 is Lacey from Park Hill. And Gassaway wins it. Hunt in second place. The battle was on for 3rd and 4th. And we'll try to go to the tape to see that. But again, Byron Gassaway, the class of the sprinters in the Kansas City area. Glenn Hunt from Central picking up second.
I had Gassaway in 22-1, Neil. Here they come. Hunt's not as good a sprinter as Gassaway, and Gassaway, of course, got way out there on him, and Hunt then has to come back at the end. If they would run a 300-meter race, maybe Hunt would get him.
Well, he already run the 400 meters today, Hunt did. There's Gassaway winning. And there's Hunt in second. The race on for 3rd and 4th. Let's go down to Chad Harberts. Chad, take it away.
Thank you, Neil. I'm here with Byron Gassaway at 21.6, a double-double victory today. How do you feel about that last run?
It was a little tiring, but I think I did pretty good, considering running 3 events before.
Now, we expected a tight race, but you really kind of blew away the field there the last 20 meters.
Yeah, I got out pretty good in the blocks, and when I get out pretty good, I guess I can do pretty good in the race.
Now you're on your way to Jefferson City as the #1 seed in 2 different events. How do you feel about your chances at state?
I feel pretty good. I think I'm running a pretty good time at state.
Chad, can you ask him which race he likes the best?
They're asking me upstairs, which race do you like best, the 100 or the 200?
I guess my 200 is the favorite. I just started running the 100. I kind of like the 200 a bit better.
All right, Byron Gassaway, you can see why he likes the 200. He blew him away in that race, and he's on his way to Jefferson City next week to try and win 2 state titles. Back to you, Neil.
Thanks a lot, Chad. Byron Gassaway, the winner, unofficial, or I guess we had the official time, 21.6 for Gassaway. That's pretty solid. We're taking a break here on Metro Sports. We'll be back with more from Blue Springs High School right after this. The girls' 3,200 meter run. There is the meet record by Amy Wiseman. That's set last year, 11:25.6, and there she is in the field today. Amy Wiseman will be in Alley 1. She'll be the one to watch for, but also Anne-Marie Brooks has a nice time this year of 11:28.7, and also, Tom, she's one that has beaten Amy Wiseman before.
In the cross-country championships this last fall.
But clearly, this is the class of the field right here. Amy Wiseman, the all-around scholar athlete at Lee Summit High School, and she will get ready to go here in the 3,200 meters. She owns the best time in the area by almost a minute this season. 10:41 is her best time.
8 laps of the track. You notice she starts her own watch there as she goes. Notice that's the one piece of jewelry they're allowed to wear, by the way. It happens to be a watch. They can wear a watch. They'll run a pretty good strategy on this race. Probably jockey for position for the first 2 laps. They'll cut in at the 300 mark out of Alley 2. A lot of times some of the girls that are more inexperienced might go out too fast and not be disciplined enough to pace themselves. Wiseman and Brooke are both seniors and very disciplined. There's another girl in the race from Sedalia Smith Cotton, Katie Meehan, who is also has a good time of 11:51.
And she's just a sophomore. So here's the first lap, but now we go live action with just 2 laps left, and they are bunched up at the front. Amy Wiseman is in second place right now. Leading the way is Katie Meehan, the sophomore from Sedalia Smith Cotton. And then in third place, it's Anne-Marie Brooks from St. Joseph Central.
2 laps to go. They've been bunched like this the whole time, and they're on a low 11-minute pace. Wiseman is beginning to make a move on the outside shoulder. You notice how she runs the outside shoulder there rather than inside, so she doesn't get boxed in. She's a very experienced runner. They'll actually run almost elbow to elbow there. Sometimes they'll even touch.
And we've been watching Anne-Marie Brooks, who's running third right now. She's been smiling this entire race. The smile not quite as evident as it was in prior laps.
This is their last chance to go to the state championships. When you're a senior, as I said earlier in the broadcast, if you don't make it, this becomes the most memorable meet of your life. And if you do make it to the state, that then becomes the most memorable meet of your life. Because very few people, only 16 in the entire state, actually make it to the state meet next week.
Well, and for the 4th place, an all-important 4th place slot back there is Rebecca Kuklinski, the sophomore from Winnetonka. But right now, here's your race. Amy Wiseman starting to pull out. Going with her, though, is Anne-Marie Brooks. And then still in third place is Meehan from Sedalia Smith Cotton.
Amy Wiseman is so strong. She runs all over the country. You know, she goes to California and runs. She runs all summer. Runs in these.
Well, and then she plays other sports. She plays basketball and other things, and has the great grades to go along with it. So she must wake up at about 4 a.m. every day and go to bed at about 11 p.m. at night.
And I'll bet you she's on one of the drill teams over there too, while she's resting.
Well, here she goes, finishing strong. Amy Wiseman will win the 3,200 meter. And I've got her an unofficial time, about 11:17. In second place, Anne-Marie Brooks from St. Joe's Central. Third place goes to Katie Meehan of Sedalia Smith Cotton. And then your 4th place runner will be Kuklinski, the sophomore from Winnetonka. And here she comes right now. Those 4 runners will move on to the state meet at Jeff City. The boys' 3,200 meter run, and here is the field for that one. Steve O'Brien, the winner in the 1,600 meter run, is in Alley 1, and he also holds the best time of the season in the metro area, 9:20.5. And there he is from North Kansas City, Steve O'Brien stepping in there right now. His district time was somewhat worse than that, but he is capable of going in the low 9s.
He won the mile, or the 1,600 meters, so he should be the one to look for. Lee Summit always has some really good distance runners.
Well, and they have a couple in this, Ryan Fitzgerald and Matt Teagenkamp of Lee Summit, and then also Lee Summit North has a pretty good runner, and Daniel Paris, who had a nice showing in the 1,600 meter run.
That's correct.
And now we go to the last 2 laps of the 3,200 meter run. And right now,
it's Daniel Paris out in front.
Well, actually, Paris of Lee Summit North is in 3rd.
Oh, I
out
apologize.
in front is Fitzgerald, and he's followed closely there by Steve O'Brien. Fitzgerald has a best time this year of 9:42.4.
They were 4:54 at the mile, so I suspect this is going to be a reasonably slow finish.
Well, Coach Steve O'Brien just so smooth, and
that's good.
I mean, he looked like he was ready to burst out into laughter as he headed the turn there. He's just so relaxed. We saw this in the 1,600 meter run, and he is definitely one of the top distance runners, if not the top, in the Kansas City area this season. Going right with him, though, is Paris.
He and Paris have obviously had some really great races this year, but O'Brien has won on every occasion. 1 lap to go was the gun lap. Now they're going to go for the sprint.
And O'Brien, the second he heard the gun, he was gone, because my goodness, he's opened up about 15 meters all of a sudden on Paris.
As if he just woke him up. Because he has got now a good 25 meters on Paris. But the name of the game here is to make it to the state.
And to qualify, and the first 4 places do that. And right now, it's Steve O'Brien leading the way, Daniel Paris in 2nd, and 3rd place is Ryan Fitzgerald of Lee Summit.
O'Brien winning easily. Good arm movement. He's not even pressing. He's really letting his landing gears down. Going to just kind of jog right on in. Paris is in 2nd.
Steve O'Brien, the winner in the 3,200 meter run. And for 4th place, trying to figure out exactly, I think that's from Truman, Brad Rodman is who's coming up the runway right now, and Rodman qualifies, so he moves on. But it's Steve O'Brien, once again, the class of the field, top distance runner in the metro area, one of the top anyway. And he'll move on to Jeff City, along with Paris Fitzgerald and Brad Rodman of Truman. And we're going to take a break here on Metro Sports, back with more coverage. In fact, upcoming, the big relay, 4x400. We'll have it coming up next. On Metro Sports, the girls 4x400 meter relay. The defining moment in the track meet, huh, Coach? Here we are. We're at it.
This is what track and field is all about. Come down to what you used to call the old mile relay. Now they messed it all up and called it 4x400, and you got to add.
There you go.
Used to be we didn't have to add. Now we knew what the distance was. But this should be a good race.
Park Hill has the best time coming in here. They're 4:01. They have the best time coming in here, and they'll also be featuring the winner of the 400-meter open, and that would be Sheba Clark. She'll anchor this team. Leading off for them is Tasha Benton of Park Hill.
Terry Keaton's got the gun up. Three-turn stagger. The first runner runs lanes all the way. Will hand off to the second runner, and then the second runner runs another 100 meters before they can cut in.
And really moving it out for Grandview out in lane 7 is Janelle Gatson. And now going after her is Park Hill and, of course, Tasha Benton. And also for Lee Summit North in lane 3, really moving out. And on that leg, it's Christine Spence, and she gives it off in the lead to Rashawn Williams.
They'll have to stay in their lanes for the next 100 meters after the first exchange. Park Hill, who has the top time in the Metro, fell way behind, but the number 2 runner appears to be really bringing him forward.
And look who's running for Lee Summit. It's Amy Wiseman. She just got done doubling up in the 1,600 meter and the 3,200 meter, and she's running a leg of the 4x4. Please,
I will
there
bet.
she is.
Listen, watch him close this up. Amy ran the 1,600 meter, 3,200 meter, and she's not that much of a, they're coming on, but she's not that much of a sprinter.
Not doing too bad, though.
Nope. Brought them all back in, and now here comes Park Hill.
Here comes Park Hill, and in the second leg for Park Hill, this is Lang who's got it, and will give off to Fristow. And also Lee Summit North still hanging tough. Lauren Thompson, the freshman, has it for the third leg.
It don't get any better than this in track and field. You've got a good relay races like this. It comes and goes. They go back and forth. Lee Summit North is Lee Summit, is up there.
Well, leading the way right now is Park Hill on the move with the baton.
And Lee Summit's in second place. Amy Wiseman on the final part of it. She brought them all the way back up.
A nice number 2 leg.
That's
and right
right.
now it's Stephanie Bass, a sophomore, running for Lee Summit. She trails Fristow right now of Park Hill, and for Grandview coming on is Brandy Griffin. And Park Hill with Fristow moving it out.
Lee Summit North is coming back into play again.
Lee Summit North, that is Lauren Thompson, the freshman, doing a nice job and running a third leg there. So here comes the anchor for Park Hill. This should be all she wrote because it's Sheba Clark, the open winner, who has the baton. Lee Summit's anchor person is Jessica Cocker, who's also a very fine runner. She was in that open quarter as well. And she's trying to chase down Sheba Clark right now.
The race now is going to be for who's going to get fourth or who's going to get left home.
And it is tight.
It is tight.
Grandview, Lee Summit North, and also I believe Blue Springs has moved up in there.
Blue Springs in third place.
Yeah, Blue Springs has taken
Pretty
over
solid.
third place.
Lee Summit, looky here.
Micheletti.
Look at Cocker.
Cocker trying to chase down Clark and may even get her. But it's Clark who shifts it into overdrive coming down the stretch to preserve the victory for Park Hill. And then Blue Springs, and then it's Grandview, I think, that slid in there to get fourth.
Sure did.
And Grandview's anchor was Morgan Ouimet.
3:58 unofficial. So that puts them under the 4-minute mark. It's not too bad.
Well, and believe also sets the meet record because it was 3:59 something.
3:59, right. Looks like could be a meet record.
Right here, Sheba Clark.
Yep, sure.
Striding it out, leading the way, anchoring her team to victory, and Cocker for Lee Summit brings them in at number 2, and they're just
look at them hugging
happy
each other.
to be moving on to stage,
sure.
Coach.
Well, that's what it's all about. Remember we said it in our opening. We said this is the 3 to 4 months of hard work. It's been their goal, and it puts everything all together when they can be the best of the best.
Park Hill the winner in a district meet record time. The boys 4x4. Lane assignments: Grandview, Central, Hickman Mills, Raytown, Oak Park, Blue Springs, Liberty, and Park Hill. The top 4 move on to Jeff City next week for the state finals. And really, this one is pretty much up for grabs, don't you think, Coach? There's your
absolutely.
meet record, and it was set in 1995 by Hickman Mills.
Well, Raytown's ranked 3rd in the Metro. Blue Springs is 5th. Central, if they just had one more fella, they'd be up in there.
Well, you never know. If they can get the baton to Glenn Hunt with
within
some
10 yards.
distance.
Give him 10 yards.
Within 10 meters
10 yards,
or whatever.
10 meters.
They might have a chance. But Raytown, you were looking, Raytown's #1 runner, Robert Walker, he's a senior. And this is Hickman Mills. They're in lane 3, and their leadoff guy is Chris Simmons, a senior.
Guns up. Bob Craddock brings them up.
And there's Raytown and their leadoff runner that we talked about, Robert Walker.
Three-turn stagger. First runner runs lanes all the way. Second runner runs it in their lane for the next 100 meters. They cut in over at the after the first turn. The object here is to establish yourself. A lot of different strategies here, Neil. Most coaches will run their 3rd fastest runner usually in this leadoff position. Come back maybe with their 2nd runner, and of course try to anchor with their best.
In the far lane, moving it out is Park Hill, running a pretty good. He's got the stagger on everybody, but running a pretty good first leg is Chris Friends. And also Raytown looking pretty good at the exchange as Robert Walker gave them a nice run, and Steve Trotter now has it for the Blue Jays.
That was an excellent leadoff at I had an unofficial 50 flat on the baton. Really looked great. Now they can cut in. So if all the runners run 50 flat, that's a 320.
Walker running for Raytown. For Park Hill in the 2nd position is Josh Hobbs, a senior. And then Blue Springs is 3rd place right now.
Because Blue
and
Springs,
on their 2nd leg, it's Bullocks. Drew Bullocks, a senior.
Blue Springs is coming on.
And here comes Bullocks moving into 2nd position, but trying to hold him off with a solid leg is Trotter.
They're holding him off. Oh, doggone it. They got all jumbled up in there, Neil. The 2nd runner's I had him in 52.
Trotter gave it off to Daryl Bennett for Raytown. Blue Springs still in 2nd place, and their 3rd leg is being handled by Keith Gray, who's a junior.
Kansas City Central is beginning to make a move, Neil, moving up in the pack very quickly, as a matter of fact.
And remember who they've got running the anchor leg, the winner of the Open 400, Glenn Hunt. All he needs is some just within shouting distance. But right now, Raytown moving it out, and the guy running the nice 3rd leg is Daryl Bennett. Oak Park is in 3rd place.
That was a 50 flat leg.
Raytown's anchor man, Rod Chambers, a senior. And the pack is running him down pretty quickly.
Here comes Hunt. They're reeling him in.
Hunt is moving it out.
I mean, he is rolling.
He is running.
Neil, he could do it.
Have
Neil,
mercy with this 300 meters that he's at.
I got to watch on him. Look, he's on the outside. He's drafting him like a race car. Look at him.
My
Look
goodness.
at him drafting him like a race car.
Still holding him off,
Here they
though,
go.
is Raytown's Rod Chambers.
Now we're going to find out. He's trying to get his team in there. If he gets in the top 4, by golly, here he goes.
Hunt has him in the top 4 right now. Coming on is Blue Springs with their good anchor. It's Raytown first, Blue Springs second, Oak Park third, and how about the leg turned in by Hunt to make them place and move on to Jeff City. Blue Springs anchor was Joe Cromley, their great hurdler, to get them second, and there they are hugging
Pretty
right
happy
there.
bunch, huh? They're going to go to Jefferson City, stay overnight in a hotel, and run with the big boys down there. tremendous leg. I wish I would have had I had an unofficial 3:23.3 is what I had overall.
Which would be the best of the Missouri schools this season. Olathe East has turned in a 3:21 this year. Coach, you look like you were in pain at that one handoff. Take me through it here.
Well, if you'll notice, they try to move the boys in. You see what happens on that? And they don't have them in the right order. And they're supposed to have them as they come off down the line. They're supposed to have them where they are.
Even in slow motion, the blue dot moving from fifth place is Glenn Hunt, and he was way back of the pack
he was
when he got the baton.
He was 5 to 7 meters behind the last runner.
And he's running way farther than everybody else because he's
out
here in the third lane.
Yeah, and everybody cuts it. You know, when he comes off that, everybody cuts out too. But Raytown held it off. Raytown, very strong group. And
this is Cromley in second place, their great hurdler for Blue Springs.
And he's a sophomore.
The anchor guy for Oak Park, Matt Borman, who won the 800 meters. So all the stars shine in the 4x4. We'll take a break. We'll be back on Metro Sports with the final standings. It's been a great day of track and field here at Blue Springs High School. The 4A sectional here in track and field, and the winners, the top 4 placers in every event, will move on to Jefferson City. And it's been a lot of fun, Tom. We'll go down to Chad Harberts. Chad Harberts had a chance to talk with one of our officials here today. Chad?
Well, Neil, I found an old friend of yours in the stands earlier, and Dave Kruger, the UMKC track and field coach. I know Tom Coyle knows the gentleman standing next to me right now, Bob Craddock, who was our starter, a longtime coach at Raytown and Lee Summit. And Bob, you're really a track enthusiast, aren't you?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I enjoy it. I just love being around the kids.
And you're still really actively involved in the high school track scene.
Well, through starting, I started cross country and track and field meets, so I'm staying close to it. You coach 31 years, you don't want to stay away from it. It's hard.
And another like Coach Parker from Blue Springs, another Missouri Hall of Famer.
That's right. It's quite an honor for me, and I know it is for Gary. It's your peers put you in there, and that's what it's all about.
Okay, Tom, there is one of your good buddies over the years.
Bob Craddock has beaten me more than anybody else.
Well, let's head to the field events, and right here, this guy. This is Mr. Hayes from Blue Springs, Chris Hayes. He took second today, the junior from Blue Springs in the discus. But your winner is right here. Mike Cleveland, the senior from Excelsior Springs, blasted one out.
165.03. Pretty good throw.
And there are the final results. Hayes in second, Withers from Hickman Mills, and Woolsey from Excelsior Springs. And in the shot put, Tucker Woolsey's your winner. How about the new meet record, over 60 feet?
60 feet is about as good as you can get in high school, I promise you.
And the girls doubled up. Heather Whitehead did. She sure did it for Truman. The girls shot put. She's the winner. Almost 40 feet. Here's her winning throw.
Pretty good putt.
And Heather Whitehead also won the discus, 127.09. That's her best of the season. Came in here with a personal best of 118.2 on the year. And the boys pole vault. Lee Summit had a couple of guys qualify along with Crosley of North Kansas City. Garrison and Smith qualify for Lee Summit.
New rule this year says that the boy has to match the pole weight. Lee Summit's always had good bowlers.
Girls high jump champion. That's Lynette Williams from Ray-Pac at 5'4", the winning height. And let's take a look at Lynette in action.
Does a Fallsbury flop, very nice.
Lynette Williams, your winner. The boys high jump went to Brandon Lloyd, just a sophomore from Blue Springs. His winning jump, 6'8", equaling his best of the season.
6'8" is a reasonably good high jump. They'll play some St. Louis people at 6'10", I'll bet.
And Brandon Lloyd of Blue Springs, there he is. Obviously not his winning jump because he could have cleared 8'9" if the bar was at 6'8".
What a spring. I never could jump over my height. Could you?
No, still working on that. Brandon Lloyd, your winner. And the girls' long jump, Nicole Stinger from Park Hill goes over 18 feet for her winning jump. Also, Muna Lee was in there. She was one of the top sprinters on the day.
I think she's got to be tired. I bet she's a big dinner.
The boys' long jump, Marcus Wooten from Central goes over 22 feet to win. And the qualifiers, Brooks Peppers and Chris Marriott. He's a great athlete over there, Truman Marriott is. I should say Marriott. And the girls' triple jump. The final result, Stinger doubling up, winning the triple jump 36-8. Boys' triple jump goes to Desmond Polk of Lee Summit North, goes over 45 feet. The girls' 4x800 meter relay. How about Liberty winning that one? Raytown sneaks in there. They go to the state tournament finals, but coming down the runway, it's Liberty here with the winning.
Really strong. Liberty running away from Lee Summit North.
And the boys' 4x800 meter relay. Raytown South coming from behind in the anchor position to win this one. Raytown South coming from behind to overtake Liberty and win the 4x8.
This is what it's all about, Neil. They come down to the wire, get their team to the state meet next week, and they are just overjoyed.
And let's go through some more of our results. The girls' 100 meter hurdles won by Kelly Smith of Grandview in a very tightly contested race. Smith wins at 14.65 over Lawless and Neely. Fowler qualified from Oak Park. The boys' 110 highs. How about the Joe Cromley show today as he doubled up in the hurdles?
He's
and
just
also
a junior.
Just a junior and anchored their 4x4 when they took second place. The girls' 100 meter dash, Muna Lee. It was her show, 12:05. She won it. And the boys' 100 meter dash, the first of a double up by Byron Gassaway. 10.6 his winning time. His best of the season's at 10.3. The girls' 4x200 meter, this wasn't even close. It's a new meet record, and the meet record was set way back in the 80s.
They just ran away from the pack, Neil.
Boys 4x2 went to the good sprinters over at Raytown South, the Cardinals, in 1:28.4. 1,600 meter run. How about Amy Wiseman?
She has got to be the best girl athlete I've ever seen.
Certainly one of the tops of all time here in the Kansas City area. Steve O'Brien wins the 1,600 meter run in 4:17.6, followed by Alexander Paris and Matt John. 4x100 meter relay goes to Raytown South. Again, those sprinters showing they were here in the relays.
Kansas City Central right on their heels.
4x1 for the girls, Raytown South, as the women double up as well. How about the Raytown South relay teams in the sprints? They just did a job today. Then the 400 meter dash, that went to Sheba Clark of Park Hill, followed by Cara Klein, who put in a great day's work for Liberty. The boys' 400 meter dash, Glenn Hunt went out early, held on strong, and did a 48.5 in his quarter. Again, the results of the girls' 400 meter dash, Clark wins it in 58.1.
Seemed like every time we turn around, Cara Clark was in the race.
Joe Cromley with the second half of his double up, 38.4. That's the top time in the metro area this season.
And he'll anchor their mile relay too.
Girls 800 meter run, Cara Klein, there she is, 2:18.80. Micheletti of Blue Springs was next, followed by King and Lennox. They all qualify and move on to participate in Jeff City. Matt Borman came from behind to win the 800 meter for Oak Park, 1:58.2. Ryder of Rockhurst held on for second. The girls' 200 meter dash, Muna Lee, 24.6, her best time of the season. Tally was right there with her at 24.8. Boys 200 meter, Byron Gassaway, once again, 21.65. His best time of the season. Right behind him, Glenn Hunt of Central. The girls' 3,200-meter run, the double up for Amy Wiseman. And this is a new meet record.
She had an easy day today because usually she also runs the 800 meters, but she will anchor the mile relay for the Lee Summit Tigers.
Steve O'Brien doubles up, 9:42.10 his winning time over Paris of Lee Summit North and Ryan Fitzgerald of Lee Summit. Brad Rodman snuck in there. He'll move on to Jeff City. The girls 4x4, Park Hill with a new meet record, 3:58.9. Shiva Clark, the anchor there. And in the 4x4, Raytown, 3:22.70. They win it. Kansas City Central sneaks in there. A bunch of great anchors. The stars of the track meet, Glenn Hunt anchored for Central. Cromley anchors for Blue Springs. Oak Park gets an anchor from Borman.
I think Glenn Hunt must have had a 47-second anchor.
And the final results of the day. And as we close it out, some of the sights and sounds of this track meet. Here are the 4A sectional from Blue Springs High School. Great time today, Tom. Thanks for participating, all the hard work you did.
My pleasure. Ask me anytime.
All right. You'll count on it. We'll see you next year. John Dennison and the Metro Sports crew, another fine effort. For the entire Metro Sports operation, this is Neil Harwell. We'll see you next time on Metro Sports.